start yet. Sending Facebook Live, Instagram Live, go ahead. Yeah, quiet out here, we're filming.
Hi everybody. Today on Moms Matter, we are going to talk to Lauren Rashap. If you don't know her, she's an incredible clinical nutritionist, and she's here in studio with us at Focus TV Network. Welcome to our show.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. And I read your articles and your blog, and I follow you, and I just love what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I'm so curious for our readers at LA Mom Magazine to understand about kicking this sugar habit. We all know that sugar, the sugar is hidden in our pastas and in our crackers and in all our processed foods, but how do we kick the habit?
Kick the habit, really, it's challenging. So some of the shocking things about sugar that a lot of people don't know is that it's 8 times more addictive than cocaine.
Wow.
So once you put sugar into perspective, you really see the necessity to really kick the habit. Now, again, I don't believe in deprivation. I don't believe in starvation. I think that we need sweetness in life. That's a part of life, right?
Sure.
So how do we get sweetness without getting the sugar? That's the big thing.
That is the big thing.
So research is really interesting right now because when I started doing my sugar, I had a sugar detox group, Facebook group last year. We had 30 people, 30 days. And in 30 days, I think maybe half of them stayed on the bandwagon.
Okay.
The other half said, I can't do this anymore.
It's very challenging.
It's challenging.
Sure.
And after the 30 days, interestingly enough, checking back with these women 1 year later, they were still off their refined sugars.
Really?
I was so excited.
That's incredible.
Yes, I have to say that I was not. I have to admit, I had a couple bites here and there, but I guess I'm really moderate about it. I don't crave it. I used to crave it. I used to have it, and I've been working with kids with eating disorders for the last 20 years.
Wow.
And I worked in clinic for a number of years, and I saw what sugar does to the brain. It actually occupies the same neural pathways as opiates do in the brain. And it works as dopamine, and it kind of gets you amped up, and it gets you excited, and you want more. Right. So we've got to break the vicious cycle. So how do we do it?
How do we do it? That's the big question.
So a lot of different doctors will say, you gotta go cold turkey. You can't even do complex carbohydrates found in my favorite foods, which I actually believe in for this part. The squash, the sweet potatoes,
right.
The really yummy tubers, the really rich foods that actually create the same kind of sweetness on the taste buds without creating the sugar imbalance in the blood. Because that's what we're trying to do. Because what what happens with the blood sugar is when we ingest tons of sugar, and the average, I think it's 152 pounds a year. That's what we're consuming as Americans.
Oh my gosh.
I mean about it.
That's
I used to do this demo with, I used to have this huge bag of sugar and put it on a table and say, this is what we're consuming in the course of a year.
But I mean, we all know it's an addiction. So people are addicted to many things, but keep going on with the addiction.
Right.
And so cold turkey is one way, which
Yes.
you're saying.
You know what, again, because sugar is a drug, and if you go to drug treatment, what happens? You got to give up cold turkey, right? So if I have a client with type 2 diabetes who's a teenager, and I'm seeing more and more of that, I will say, you know what, we've got to do something really severe, because I don't want you to be on insulin the rest of your life. So there's a continuum.
Okay.
So for the cold turkey people,
Right.
that's one category. If you have obesity issues, I look at the blood sugar, I look at the blood chemistry, and if you have high A1C factors, if you have a lot of inflammation factors in your body, then you have to do the cold turkey. So
And when you say cold turkey,
yes,
how many days is that? What is it looking like?
the cold turkey, you got to do at least 10 days. Research will tell you 30 days. In 10 days, you can really get a wonderful result and start to retrain your taste buds and really look at some of the foods you're eating, because that whole mechanism of grabbing for sugar it's almost a reflex.
Sure.
And there's all sorts of different techniques that I use. Would you like to hear about a few of them?
I would love to hear about them, because I myself, who I consider a healthy person, but I have a sugar addiction.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I would love to hear a technique. What do I do?
Absolutely. So here's some of my kind of hacks.
Okay.
I am a huge medicinal herb and spice girl.
Okay.
And so cinnamon, cardamom, coriander, allspice, all of these sweet herbs, not only will kind of take the place of the sweetness, but they actually, cinnamon in particular, do you know about cinnamon?
Well, yeah, it's amazing.
It controls blood sugar.
Yeah, amazing.
So cinnamon is a drug, and you can use it as a sweet substitute without creating any of the sugar response.
I see.
I don't believe in sugar substitutes. I don't believe in, I don't really like stevia. I mean, it's okay if it's the real stevia, but most of it is bleached. Did you know, with chlorine and hexane?
Oh boy.
So if you can get real stevia, in fact, I have it in my garden, a little plant, I'll put that in. I don't believe in xylitol. Those are sugar alcohols, because they still will create the need for sweet.
Right.
But I do believe in fruit, and on most of the sugar detox plans, they'll eliminate all fruit.
So in your plan, you're saying that natural sugar in fruits is not considered sugar addiction.
No.
So you can
It
still
is not.
have fruit.
Yes, yes. But you have to know how to eat fruit. Got to know how to eat it. Because people eat fruit kind of all day long, and there's something called the glycemic index.
Right.
Do you know about that? So there's certain fruits that are really high in the glycemic index, which, okay, let's take on the one end, the highest end is the banana, on the low end is the blueberry, right? So, but everywhere in between, all of those fruits, I believe, have certain properties, like banana's good for the thyroid. Banana's good for potassium. So I don't believe in throwing out the bananas.
Okay.
You don't have to eliminate that high glycemic fruit. But when you eat it, let's eat it with fiber to blunt the insulin response that you will get from the ingestion of that sugar.
I see. So there's a whole process on
It's kind
things you can eat, how to eat them, and how they kind of balance
Right.
each other out while you're ingesting them.
Right, exactly.
This seems like to work. I mean, where do we start?
Yeah, it's actually really, once you get a program in place, I forgot my book, but I have a whole plan in my book.
Okay.
So, which is called Vibrant Skin at Any Age. And it's really, again, I'm talking about skin, but I'm talking about everything. And what I talk about is how to put the food together to really create something that's high in fiber, high in fat, so we can't be afraid of good fats.
Right.
The fat ingestion will take the place of the sugar. It gives us the same sense of satiety, the same sense of feel good.
So then you don't have to, you don't crave the sugar. Now you
Yes,
can have the
yes.
fat from like an avocado and put
Yes,
that.
or
put
if you
the
put
sugar.
like coconut butter, you know, on like a piece of gluten-free bread, or it's like really sweet and yummy with some cinnamon on top. There's ways to still get that sweetness. And over time, what's going to happen is you're going to pick up that, what's your go-to sugar? Like, what do you love?
I
Like,
have 4 kids. There's sugar
I
all
know.
over the place all the time. I mean, I'll grab like a Kit Kat, you know?
Oh, yeah. And just think about like those Kit Kats and some of those candy bars too. You have to look at also the other ingredients. A lot of that's GMO.
It's awful.
It's really bad
disgusting.
stuff.
I know.
So buy candy, but make sure that you're buying things that are not genetically modified.
Right.
And all the additives and the lecithin, they all damage your thyroid. So you have to kind of look at some of those things and maybe swap them out for something a little bit less damaging to the health.
So what I'm hearing is you can go cold turkey, you can do this in 10 days, or you can go 30 days.
Yeah, and take your time.
And take your time,
Yes.
and it's a
and
slower.
have your alcohol if you're a mom, or wine. And I know, you know, they really take alcohol. Like I got plans, I take alcohol out of the diet.
Right.
But if you're going to drink, we talked about this earlier. If you're going to drink, gosh, wine is really high in sugar.
Sure.
Red
Well, this
wine,
is good news for me because
yeah.
you told me you could have tequila. I'm very excited about that.
I just started drinking tequila. I'm very excited about that too. When you find a good tequila, oh my God, all you need is a little bit of fresh mint and lime, tons of limes.
And you're good.
Yes, because if you think about it, you put a bottle of wine at the table, right? Are you having your 4 ounces to 8 ounces, period, end of the
No, it's
story?
not happening.
No, the bottle's gone in the next,
Yeah.
you know, with a cocktail, you're kind of nursing that cocktail. And you know, taking your time with it, and you might have another one 2 hours later. But if you look at the alcohol and the sugar ingestion that you're getting from those 2 cocktails, as long as you're not putting tons and tons of
Well,
syrups
sure,
and
yeah.
all that other crap in it, you're really getting like literally a fraction of the sugar.
All right. Well, I feel like we all need to visit your website,
Yeah.
and we need to read your book and get
you.
some tips from you. Now, we can make an appointment and come in and see you, and you
Yes.
can help us through all of
Absolutely.
this. I'm going to try it. I'm going to post about it, and I'm going to see how difficult it truly is to do it, because I think we all need to cut the sugar.
I
So
agree.
thank you for
I
being
agree.
like the guru of cutting sugar out of our diet.
You're so
And
welcome.
I'm looking forward to talking to you again
Yes,
about cleaning
absolutely.
our houses out of other toxins and other things. So thank you, Lauren, for being here
Thank
with
you
us.
for having me.
And
It's so good to see you.
we're going to do it again and
Yes,
again and help
okay.
mommies clean out their homes and be healthy and live a better life.
Yes.
So we'll see you all next time.